Yo, what's up, boys, girls, gents? So, I get asked a lot when I'm talking to people about, just the stuff I do, the projects I'm doing. You guys see the stuff I got going on, like to do in my free time. So, a lot of people end up asking me if I'm a mechanic or whatever because I'm doing my own stuff and all that. And I mean, I try and tell them it's really not that hard. You can teach anything yourself that you want to teach. You just have to do the research and do it yourself, hands on, to learn. And you gotta make mistakes, right? But this is about really how I started doing the clutches on all my vehicles because obviously I'm a rather aggressive driver and I'm not very gentle on my clutch. You'll have that in big jobs, alright? Pay to play. I drive my shit. I have all the fun I want. I take full advantage. If I gotta do a clutch every now and again, so be it, I mean, it's the price you have to pay to have a lot of fun with a manual vehicle. But I still stand by the sticks over the autos, so I don't even care what you're gonna say about that. And they don't cost that much. And honestly, I've done the calculations, and on average, I'm ranging about 75,000-ish miles per clutch, which isn't great, but it's not that bad. For what I do, I honestly think that is rather good because, of all the hard driving I do and towing and things like that. So, I don't think it's that bad. But anyways, that's not the point. I'm talking about the first clutch job that I ever did. The one that I learned the first time I actually did one myself ever. So it was on my 2018 WRX. Not the best car to be doing your first clutch job on, obviously. Right? But I blew it apart because I was street racing left and right, and I smoked that clutch right out after I think about almost like 7 months. So I ordered an ACT Stage 2 clutch and flywheel, and I went with a lightweight flywheel. So I ran into probably every problem I could. I had no idea how to do this at all, but conveniently someone had a YouTube video of them doing it with my exact car, and I watched it, and the dude did it in like 40 minutes. Real time. Did the full job, so I was like, bet. I was already throwing taillights in and intakes and exhausts and shit like that. The suspension, like all the minor stuff, like entry level shit. This was my first real big involved project though. But I was looking at the videos and I was not scared because, I'd done all the other stuff that was easy stuff. Like pulling out basic 10 mils and stuff for freaking headlights and taillights and, chopping exhaust. That was light work, clamping shit up. So I was like, I got this. Little 17-year-old me. I was like, I'm just yank this trans out like it's nothing. Okay, so I ran into probably every problem you could run into. All right, so I pulled the car into my mom's garage. Thing was on jack stands for a minute, okay, like 2 weeks. We'll start with that. Because here's what happened. So the first thing, I pull everything apart. I actually got it out kind of fast. Well, no, that's a lie. It took us like 3 hours to get the trans out because it was just mated to that motor and it did not want to separate. There was like 2 of us standing on top of the engine just yanking on the trans with a freaking pry bar in between the bell housing and the motor casing trying to get it to split. And then we had this big ass dude under the car just yanking on the trans, shaking it back and forth, rocking the whole motor. Thing was not budging at all. My one friend drank like 20 Twisted Teas in the time it took us just to get the trans off the first time. Okay? Then everyone disappeared. Surprise, surprise. So it's just me by myself. But I had the trans out. So I went ahead, I took the flywheel off because I had the lightweight flywheel and I had the new clutch. And it was all a stage 2 kit, so it was rated for like 600 foot-pounds of torque. 700 wheel horsepower, something stupid crazy like that. And, I threw that all on, and I was all happy because I was making a YouTube video on it. And then I went and I put the trans back in, and wouldn't you know, I busted a sensor. And the sensor is the crank position sensor that sits behind your flywheel. And the only way to get it is to get your trans off, your clutch, and your flywheel off. So of course, I had to take all that off. Took it all off, replaced this $180 sensor, and put it all back together. And then I had to take it all out again. I had to pull the trans again because there was a problem with the alignment of the spindle. So then I put it all back in again for a third time. Finally had it all in. I had the code cleared. I thought everything was gonna be fine. And I'm pulling it out of the garage, and it throws a fat old 6 codes. And I'm like, oh my God. And it's like not even running. It has like no power. So once you know, the flywheel, I have to adjust the tune for idle because my car wouldn't even stay running because of how light the flywheel was. So I had to do that every time I started the car. And then I go and I look, and I pop the hood after I pull it out of my mom's garage. And I don't even have the cold side of the intercooler hooked up. I don't even know. But I was like tweaking, I hooked that back up, and then all the codes went away. But I was still having the idle problem. So eventually the car auto learned to it, and after a day, it was fine. And then on the second day, right as I was about to end the break-in miles, I hit 2 cars in a tree doing 55 and totaled it. Ain't that a kick in the nuts? But yeah, so that was my first clutch job. That was pretty much, and then after that, I mean, I've done them in my Jetta, I did them in my GMC Sierra, my Mustang, my other 2 WRXs. Now I'm about to do one in my Tacoma actually in the next week or 2. That thing's smoked out, but I mean, I've had this truck for a year now, and a little over a year and a half almost. And I mean, that thing's been through the ringer. It really has. But 6 gear is it's a downhill gear right now. It's about gone. So, but yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, it's that easy, you know. If you're afraid to do something like that, just do it. It's not as hard as you think. It's not as bad as you think. You can get through it. You can do it. You know, I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. Come on, I had no idea what I was doing. I just threw myself at it, and it worked out. I mean, I had problems. I ran into every problem in the world. My car sat on jack stands for a week while I waited for the little sensor to come in just so I could put everything back together. So, like, you know, I had every problem you could have, and it worked out. It really wasn't that bad. Just sucked I totaled the car right after I did it, but hey, you'll have that. So, yeah, let's get on this video. I still haven't gone home. I mean, it's been like 5 weeks or something like that. I've been gone now, so I just haven't been able to really make any videos. So I'm sorry, guys. I know it's been like a week since I posted, and even that was just a photo dump. I haven't been home, alright? I'm gonna have a lot of good shit coming for you when I get home, I promise. And I'm probably not gonna be having to do this much more, so it'll get better soon. I promise. Alright, I'll see you, boys.